Welcome to a journey into the heart of the sovereign soul, a path illuminated by the ancient wisdom of the Kolbrin. Today we'll explore how to conquer the endless hunger of need and silence the inner accuser by awakening the true self within. This is not just a philosophical exploration, but a practical guide to harmonizing body and soul, drawing from timeless teachings that speak directly to the human experience. As we begin, remember, the soul is not a distant mystery but the very core of who you are. Let's embark together on this transformative path. The Kolbrin teaches, man is a soul residing within a body. This profound statement reminds us that our true identity is not limited to flesh and bone. Instead, the body is a vessel and the soul is its eternal occupant. Rather than obsessing over the mysteries of the soul, our task is to harmonize it with our physical existence. When we achieve this harmony, life becomes more meaningful and our actions align with a deeper purpose. The journey begins with recognizing this dual nature and seeking balance between the material and the spiritual. Most people live in a state the Kolbrin calls the slumber. In this state, we identify solely with our bodies, forgetting the soul within. When we believe we are only our bodies, we naturally seek fulfillment from the outside world, chasing pleasures, possessions, and approval. But this pursuit is endless and ultimately unsatisfying. The first step to awakening is to recognize this slumber and begin questioning the belief that the body is the whole self. Only then can we start to awaken to our deeper, spiritual nature. In the kingdom of illusion, the sleeper mistakes the moon for the brightest light, simply because they have never seen the sun. This metaphor illustrates how, when we are trapped in material thinking, we accept lesser truths and shallow satisfactions. The belief that I am the body and the body is my whole being keeps us from experiencing the full radiance of the soul. True awakening comes when we realize there is a greater light within us, waiting to be discovered. Within each of us there is a constant tension between the beast, the senses, and the body and the soul, which is the spirit. The void of need arises when the soul seeks fulfillment from the material world but finds only emptiness. Desires shaped by fate and the law of sowing and reaping can trap us in cycles of longing. The unfillable void or need is created when we beg for scraps from the world, forgetting our true source of satisfaction lies within. The trap is believing that satisfaction comes from gaining things that promote material welfare. This is the folly of the unbalanced man, who becomes a slave to endless desires. Hypocrites, those who hide their true thoughts, and those who mock what they do not understand are all caught in this trap. The Kolbrin warns that the wrongdoer becomes a slave to his own wickedness. True freedom comes from doing what is right and aligning with the soul's higher purpose. Inside us lurks the internal accuser, the unclean conscience and dark spirits that prey on our fears. These voices amplify guilt and shame, keeping us trapped in cycles of self-judgment. The Kolbrin teaches that the wrongdoer becomes a slave to his own wickedness, but by choosing what is right, the spirit remains free. Understanding and confronting the accuser is essential for inner liberation and peace. A profound shift occurs when you realize the spark of divinity is the Lord of the body, not its servant. The Kolbrin reveals that the spiritual part of man is not something outside of us, but is discovered through sincere seeking. This realization marks the beginning of true transformation, as we start to live from the soul rather than the body. The effort to seek this truth is all that is required to awaken the inner light. The method for awakening is to clear the inner temple. This means making space within yourself, through silence, mindfulness, and peace, so you are ready to receive the influx of the divine. The Kolbrin describes this as preparing an inner place where the soul can commune with higher wisdom. This practice is not about withdrawal from life but about creating a sanctuary within, where the soul's voice can be heard above the noise of daily existence. Mindfulness is the art of clearing an inner place so that, in silence and peace, it is ready to receive the divine. This practice involves shutting out the clamoring senses and entering a state of quiet. The relationship with the soul is built in the quiet, not in the noise. By cultivating mindfulness, we prepare ourselves to receive wisdom, compassion, and understanding from within. The Kolbrin describes moral laws as a training regimen for the unruly steed of the body. Just as a wild horse needs guidance and discipline, so too does the body require moral structure. These laws are not meant to restrict us, but to help us channel our energies in ways that serve the soul's higher purpose. By following moral laws, we train our bodies to become allies rather than obstacles on the spiritual path. To deepen the relationship with the soul, it is essential to shut out the clamoring senses and enter the silence. The Kolbrin emphasizes that true connection with the soul is built in quiet moments, not in the noise of daily life. By regularly seeking silence, we create space for the soul to speak, guiding our actions with wisdom and clarity. The Kolbrin offers a powerful metaphor. Sorrow chisels out a storehouse within the soul wherein may be stored the things of the spirit. This means that our deepest pains and losses can become vessels for wisdom, compassion, and spiritual treasures. Rather than avoiding sorrow, we can embrace it as a tool for growth, allowing it to deepen our capacity for understanding and love. The Kolbrin insightfully notes that you cannot hold the waters of compassion and understanding in a shallow soul. Just as a deep vessel can hold more, so too must we cultivate depth within ourselves to truly embody compassion and wisdom. This depth is achieved through reflection, experience, and a willingness to face life's challenges with an open heart. The accuser is not a punishment but a test of your fortitude. The Kolbrin teaches that earth is not for the pleasure of man but as a place of instruction for the soul. Every challenge, every accusation is an opportunity to strengthen your spirit and prove your resilience. By facing these tests with courage, you grow in wisdom and inner strength. A central question arises: does the soul conquer need? The answer, according to the Kolbrin, is yes. The soul reveals that the true source of fulfillment is within. Need is the hunger of the body for things that fade, while the soul feeds on spiritual fare, truth, wisdom, and love, which are infinite and internally generated. By turning inward, we discover a wellspring of satisfaction that never runs dry. The transformation occurs when we recognize that need is simply the body's hunger for temporary things. The soul, on the other hand, is nourished by spiritual qualities that are infinite. The Kolbrin assures us that those who embrace their divine heritage are no weaklings, they are strong, resilient, and self-sufficient. This shift from external seeking to internal fulfillment is the essence of spiritual sovereignty. The soul speaks, "I have come to embrace you, I have come to protect you." This gentle assurance reminds us that the soul is always present, offering guidance and protection. The Kohar, another aspect of the soul, records every tear and every joy, bearing witness to our entire journey. We are never alone, for the soul is our constant companion and source of strength. When you realize you are already a duality of spirit and soul, the desperate need for another person to complete you vanishes. The Kolbrin teaches that old need-based love is transactional. I need you to make me feel whole. This is the way of the commonplace man, always seeking completion from outside. True awakening brings a new kind of love, one that is self-sufficient and radiant. The awakened soul emits love like a lamp emits light. It does not need the objects it illuminates. This new soul-based love is not transactional but resonant. The Kolbrin describes the truly awakened soul as being beyond carnal lust and mortal grief, with love that is alike for all creation. This is the love of the Master of Life, who is steadfast, poised, and sovereign. The Master of Life is an archetype described in the Kolbrin as one whose mind is never confused, whose body and emotions are firmly in rein. This person strikes swiftly when action is needed, or simply keeps moving steadily along the path. They are steadfast in tribulation, embodying the qualities of sovereignty and inner mastery. In contrast, the commonplace man is shiftless and reactive, lacking the poise of the awakened soul. The Master of Life remains steadfast in tribulation, never losing composure or clarity. Whether facing adversity or calm, their inner state remains poised. This unwavering steadiness is a hallmark of spiritual sovereignty, allowing them to navigate life's storms with grace and confidence. The Kolbrin encourages us to cultivate this quality, becoming masters of our own inner world. In contrast, the commonplace man is shiftless and reactive, easily swayed by circumstances and emotions. The Master of Life, however, is poised and sovereign, acting from a place of inner strength rather than external pressure. This contrast highlights the importance of cultivating sovereignty and self-mastery on the spiritual path. The Kolbrin offers practical strategies for dealing with need and the accuser. The first is thistledown: deeds that are as light as thistledown on the wind, better never uttered. This reminds us to act with intention and substance, rather than being carried away by empty actions or words. Each deed should be meaningful, rooted in the soul's purpose. The second strategy is the mirror. The accuser hates the light because it reveals their own darkness. When we stand in our truth and shine our inner light, we expose the shadows within ourselves and others. This can provoke resistance, but it is also a powerful tool for transformation. By being honest and authentic, we help others confront their own darkness. The third strategy is dignity in reaction. The Kolbrin teaches that dignity, when you are scorned or cast down, chastens your adversaries. By maintaining composure and self-respect in the face of criticism or attack, you disarm those who seek to undermine you. This dignified response is a sign of true sovereignty and inner strength. The accuser often projects their own secret guilt onto others. The Kolbrin warns that those who are clever enough to cover up their guilt are still accused by their own hearts. This insight teaches us that we do not need to defend ourselves against baseless accusations. Instead, we can respond with compassion, recognizing that those who attack are often struggling with their own darkness. The Kolbrin guides us to have compassion for those who accuse or attack us, for on the dread day they will stand alone. Our response should be one of understanding, not defense. We do not need to defend ourselves against ghosts. Those who attack are often lost in their own darkness. By responding with compassion, we maintain our own light and integrity. The Kolbrin introduces the concept of Haru, the twice-born. This is one who has crossed the dark waters while still alive, experiencing an inward vision of splendor and a wave of spiritual light. The promise is profound. Happiness is no longer dependent on circumstance but becomes an abiding love for all and a certain knowledge of immortality. The twice-born lives as a light-bearer, radiating wisdom and compassion. As a light-bearer, you become the source of value, not the seeker of it. The Kolbrin teaches that you are the judge of your own heart, the great bearer of scales, rendering the judgments of others irrelevant. This realization brings true freedom and sovereignty, allowing you to live from a place of inner abundance and confidence. Your true heritage is to see your own self in all things and all things in your own self. The Kolbrin teaches that the awakened soul is beyond delusion and outside the reach of futile sorrow. By embracing this perspective, you step into your birthright as a sovereign soul, free from the illusions of need and the accusations of others. This is the ultimate liberation promised by the Kolbrin wisdom.